Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of News in Motion. Today is Thursday, January 25th, 2024, and we are back at it again with another edition of Town Hall Thursdays. Town Hall Thursdays is kind of like our civic engagement conversations where we really hit the hard hitting questions here over at News in Motion. If this is your first time tuning in to News in Motion, first of all, welcome. Second of all, News in Motion is a news media outlet with relevant commentary and call to action news. We can be found on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, any audio and podcast platforms. So if this is your first time, we just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. I see you, Miss Marianne Jackson, tuning in through YouTube. And good morning to you, Miss Regina Shorts, tuning in through YouTube as well. Y'all came in here like 2 minutes early. Y'all starting to, pick it up. We missed the YouTube people tuning in real early at the crack of dawn for the new episodes of News in Motion. Good morning to you, Miss Jackie, also tuning in through YouTube as well. Quickly, before we get our show started, just a weather update. Here in Central Ohio, it will be a high of 54 degrees with heavy chances of fog and rain. So if you are driving, be sure to take your time. Please be safe. Please be careful if you are out there driving. There is a little bit of fog that's affecting visibility. And of course, you also have the rain to factor that in as well. So, if you're ready for this Town Hall Thursday, be sure to grab your pen and paper, tell a friend to join into News in Motion, and we'll be right back after this brief intro.
News in Motion.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I see you, Jackie, coming in here on YouTube, and Shardinia on Facebook. Tracy Burrs, good morning, girlfriend, from Facebook, and Yvonne Gardner from YouTube. So good morning to all of you. As Isaiah said, this is Town Hall Thursday. It is me today. We had someone who was going to join us at the last minute. Their child was sick and they could not get on live with us this morning, but that's okay. I see you, Kim Edmondson. Good morning. I see my brother, Louis Pryor the third. Good morning to you as well. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, y'all, this is Town Hall Thursday, and we have a doozy for you today. Before I get there, yesterday I gave some information. I see you, Adrian. I gave some information about the broadcast about the LA Times and the layoffs there. And after that, y'all, some other news media came out saying that they too are facing challenges and will be making cuts. So let me give you those. We have the LA Times, which I shared with you yesterday. They will lay off approximately 20% of its newsroom. This is news, headlines, and politics. Hi, Deborah. So that's about 115 employees due to financial difficulties. And that source gave more information from the BBC. So in an election year, they're cutting at least 115 employees, journalists in their actual newsroom, which is news headlines, politics, that type of news. So in the election year, Time has laid off as well. Time magazine has laid off approximately 15% of its union represented editorial employees in the newsroom, y'all. So it's about 30 people across the news departments in an effort to restructure the company, and CNN gave that update. Then we have Condé Nast, 400. Now, this is more of your Vanity Fair, Vogue, and GQ, but they're cutting their news people, y'all. So there are a lot of cuts in that. On the other end, I was so excited when I got this news alert. CNN was the first to report, so I want to give them the credit for this. Y'all, Jon Stewart is coming back to the newsroom for the Daily Show. Y'all know, y'all, that comes on 11:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Comedy Channel of all places. But he gives some phenomenal news. And I really believe that no one could fill his or Trevor Noah's shoes. So he came back. He's coming back for this election cycle. And I loved one of the articles where he says, where everyone else is cutting, someone's going to have to bring the news. And he talked about digital news platforms with News in Motion. He didn't mention us, but News in Motion would be one of those digital news platforms. And he said that that's where people will more than likely find the truth in news. So that was a good sign as well. So he's coming back. He'll be on Monday nights, but he's also coming, and this will be the Monday after the Super Bowl. And this will also be, he's also going to be the executive producer. And I love me some Jon Stewart. People think he should run for president, and I agree with that. So let's get into some news. Okay, let's get into some. Well, before I go there, Isaiah and I we had a conversation in the green room this morning. We were talking about some of this. And I don't know if Isaiah is able to come on or not. If he can come on in here. If not, that's okay. We understand. But the conversation went something like this: with all of these new media outlets having to lay off people, reorganize, and get rid of the news people, how important is News in Motion to you? He said, I'm in here. How important is News in Motion to you? So if y'all could put that in the chat, go ahead, Isaiah, give your feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, good morning, Miss Gail. It's been a minute since we've been on the same screen.
I know.
And good morning to everybody else tuning in. But to me, News in Motion is definitely important. By far, it is definitely the most informal news source out here. I'd rather watch News in Motion more than Channel 10 or Channel 6 for real. But News in Motion has definitely been informative, and News in Motion has also allowed different demographics and different audiences to give their input. And it's also made voting registration and news actually interesting for the youth and for Gen Z as well. So I'm just real grateful for that. So I would say News in Motion is definitely needed. And I wish more mainstream media would take some, I don't want to say take some of the stuff that we do, but like kind of pay attention to what we do and see like, oh, this is a news media outlet. They know what they're talking about. They fact check everything. They put the time and the effort into their research. I'm not saying other news sources don't do that, but you can't believe everything you see. Even sugar looks like salt. So.
Oh, he said even sugar looks like salt. So Kim Edmondson says News in Motion is my main source of news. Can you tell us why, Kim? Can you tell us why? Good morning, Latrice Jones. Latrice Jones, we got to talk. I had a dream about you. I won't share that on News in Motion, but it was like, again, we were cutting up. Jackie said, I'm with you, Kim Edmondson. Okay. Yeah, we were just having that conversation. And we know some of y'all do not like that we're down to just 3 days a week. But again, we needed that Monday to do our research. We needed it with AI and everything that's going on. What's up, Donita? So thank you, Isaiah. Everybody, y'all like Isaiah's hair? Yeah, he got it twisted up in there. I was like, hello. He'd be in the green room checking it out. I said, it looks good. It looks good. So thank you. Thank you also for all you do. We appreciate you. All right, y'all. So let's get Mitch McConnell. So the United States Senate, and then also Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. Well, y'all know me, Yvonne. I know you on here. I had to get nosy. They decided they were going to. Jackie says, I trust Gail because she does her homework. Wow. Thank you for that. And then Marion says, News in Motion is very important to me. I appreciate the truth in news from NIM. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Adrian says, News in Motion is a standard in my week. Y'all know I gotta, I'm trying to learn how to keep these on, but I don't. The knowledge I gain makes me feel more confident to share and inform others. And then Kim says, similar to what Isaiah said, is this relevant news with a twist that I can relate to. And Deborah Johnson says she's driving. So she's saying, I can't talk, I'm driving. Girl, you pay attention to the road, okay? So thank y'all for that. Thank y'all for that. And Lori says, as a Christian person, I can handle the news, but with all of the heavy in the world, ending on an inspirational message helps me see how we can apply God's word in this crazy world. Thank you. And that brings up something else that Isaiah and I were talking about. And then we're going to get into this, into the Senate and the Congress and our actual town hall for today. But I received an inbox message, and that's really what started Isaiah and I having the conversation this morning. And the inbox message was someone sharing with me that the news is just too heavy. Like what I share is just too heavy, and it leaves them worrying throughout the day. Like the finances, the Senate, the House. And they listed several things. The information that we share, what we're going to share today about the students, and I got to tell y'all, Latrice was on it with the students about a week or two ago, but with that, the person was saying they just can't handle the news. And we're hearing that more and more. And they were saying that if I don't see them on here, that's why, because they don't want to hear all of this. They just want to hear about some fun stuff, just give the inspirational message, and life goes on. And so it got me to thinking, and I said to Isaiah, I said, with reading that particular inbox message, is it time for News in Motion to say goodbye? Is it that we're in a world or a season where people just don't want to hear it, and there's no space for it anymore? Allow people to find their own news whenever they need an answer to something. So he and I were just having some conversation around that. So thank y'all for coming in here. Good morning, Deborah. So with that, Mitch McConnell and Mike Johnson made a decision to pause anything on immigration. And this was Mitch McConnell's words on Fox News yesterday afternoon or evening. He says, now is not the ideal time to get a deal on the border security. Well, people were in the hot mic too. Y'all better watch it when y'all have a microphone on. Make sure it's turned off before you keep talking. And I guess Donald Trump called in, and I have to use his name to give this. I guess Donald Trump called in to Mitch McConnell and to Mike Johnson and said, don't do the border deal. That's what I'm going to run on. I'm going to run on immigration. So they're doing party politics instead of dealing with their constituents and people. So party politics, they're saying, we're not going to do this. So I went and got nosy. There's a HR 2, and these were 2 roll call votes, one on passage of yay and nays, and one on recommitted failed by yays and nays. There were 21 sponsors to this bill. The House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan, I'm calling a roll this morning, Homeland Security Republican Mark Green, Ways and Means Chair Republican Jason Smith, Education and the Workforce Republican Virginia Fox, and Foreign Affairs Republican Michael McCall all signed off on this bill. Okay, so they decided, as it was going to the Senate, they decided out of 21 sponsors as of yesterday, halt. No deal. Now, y'all been arguing about the border security for a long time. But now you're going to halt all of this so that the former guy can run on something that he said and ran on the first time and did nothing about it for 4 years that he was in office. And I need to say this too, Mike Johnson, you were in there as well as Mitch McConnell, and y'all didn't pass it either, okay? So here was an opportunity to have a bipartisan bill, and you all decided we're going to halt this. We're just not going to do it. Dr. Antoinette said driving, but at a light, I trust what I hear on News in Motion to be factual. Thank you. So here was the act. They called it a short title. This act may be cited as the Secure the Border Act of 2023. And in the table of contents, there were 116 titles, sections. And out of the sections, there was 214 pages. And I'm going to just give you a sneak peek into what this included. It says, no later than 7 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Secretary shall resume all activities related to the construction of the border wall, along with border between the United States and Mexico that were underway or being planned prior to January the 20th, 2021. To carry out this section, the Secretary shall expend all unexpired funds appropriated or obligated for the construction of the border wall that were appropriated or obligated as a cause may be for use beginning October, and they went back to 2019. They talk about the materials. They talk about how long it's going to take to put it together. They talk about the Immigration Responsibility Act of 1996. They go on to home security. They go on to fencing and road improvements. They go on to talking about reinforcements of barriers. They talk about physical attackment. They talk about how they're going to carry out when immigrants cross over. They were talking about the property, rentals, impact, national resources, commerce, site of historical. They went on and on and on. Remember, they made this big show right before they went back in session in January of 2024, where all the Republican House people went to the border. Y'all remember that? It was a whole photo op on television. But as of yesterday, they brought it to a halt. As of yesterday. Wow. Isn't this interesting? But this is what's happening. So Mitch McConnell and Mike Johnson came together and said, this is not the ideal time to get a deal on border security. Well, Mike Johnson, why not? You had 21 sponsors and y'all passed it and y'all sent this to the Senate. And now Mitch McConnell says, nope, he called and said, we're not doing this because he wants to run on immigration. Marion says, why are they letting him, the former guy, dictate what they do in the House? Everyone who voted to halt the vote need to be voted out of office. And that's why I called their names: Jim Jordan, Mark Green, Jason Smith, Virginia Fox, and Michael McCall, all of the committee leaders of those committees. There were 21 sponsors. If you get the News in Motion, the Friday rundown, I'm going to make sure this link is in here so y'all can look up all 21 sponsors of this bill. So I wanted to put that out there. Kim says, why does he get to call the shots? I get it. So now I want to now move into, this was important that I wanted to share with you in case you did not see it on the news as of yesterday. But I want to move into our town hall talking about improving student achievement agenda of 2024. Latrice Jones was all on this a couple weeks ago. She sounded the alarm. And I'm going to read to you just some of what was in when it comes to Ohio. Ohio lawmakers consider paying kids to go to school and to graduate. I never heard of this in my life. So they were talking about some ways they could pay students. K through 12 students are chronically absent during the 2022-23 school year, according to data from the Department of Education and Workforce. And I just read the Department of Education and Workforce, that committee chair from the House of Representatives. Okay, y'all know he's a flip-flopper. Okay, so defined as missing more than 10% of the school year, or about 18 days. Chronic absenteeism in school has risen significantly since the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, and they went back to look at year 2021 and 2022 school year. They talked about the percentage, what they're going to do. They're going to set aside, there's a House bill by Cincinnati Republican Bill Sines, introduced a bill 348. glasses, 340 Bill 348, House Bill 348, which would set aside $1.5 million over the next 2 fiscal years to test out whether a cash rewards for achieving attendance and graduation goals can improve educational outcome for Ohio children. That's on Ohio. So my first question in this town hall meeting today, and remember, once y'all stop asking questions and stop interacting with me, this segment is over. The question is, should students be paid to go to school? Should students be paid K through 12 to go to school? So then as you're putting that in, I'm going to go into the fact sheet, and this will also be in the Friday rundown. So make sure you sign up. You can go to gaildudley.com. A pop-up box will come up. You sign up, you'll get the emails. They come out every Friday or most Fridays. So gaildudley.com, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. We have all types of information in the Friday rundown. So the Biden-Harris administration announces improving student achievement agenda in 2020. Now, they have 3 areas that they want to tackle. Kim Edmondson said, heck no. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, Hester Jackson? Listen, speaking of that, I was talking to my siblings, and our grandparents used to give us, I think, $1 for every A or something like that when we had the hard copy grades from elementary school. And even that, like, you gonna pay me to get an A? Okay. So, I mean, and we did, but to pay students, Kim said, I didn't get a paycheck. Why should they? That's what I'm talking about. You learn because you want to learn. You learn because you want to learn. So here's the Biden administration. They have 3 areas that they're calling evidence-based strategies that will improve student learning. Increasing student attendance, providing high-dosage tutoring, and increasing summer learning and extended or after-school learning time. Well, I already see a challenge with that. I want to hear from y'all in this town hall. I already see a challenge with that because students just want to be on the phones. They're looking down. There's no more jumping rope. There's no more tetherball. There's no more, very seldom are they doing swim team. Basketball and football, okay. Track, okay. But there's so much that students do not want to do. They don't want to, what's that thing you put the chalk on the ground and put numbers on it? Hopscotch. And some of these students, like, I asked my daughter one day, I said, do you know what this is? And she was like, I have no clue. Jacks, none of those things. So will after school learning, and all my educators come in here, after school learning or summer learning, would that even fly today? Let's start there. So they want to focus on proven strategies that will accelerate academic performance for every child in school. Now, here in reading this, and I'm going to be fair and balanced, in reading this, here's a low blow. And I don't like when politics go this direction. And here's the low blow. The Biden administration in their write-up says, they say school closures launched during the previous administration set students back. Everything was closed. So y'all really can't blame the former guy or his administration for closing schools. Everything was closed. So don't start off your agenda for student achievement with that, because that's not fair. That's not what happened. And so they break it down and they talk about the strategies and the evidence. And I'm coming there to see y'all's comments in a moment. So in increasing attendance, they're talking about, according to this Council on Economic Advisors, absentee can account for up to 27% and 45% of the test scores declines in math and reading, respectively. So here's my question with increasing attendance. How can we make school more appealing for our students today? Or should nothing change? Why or why not? How can we make our schools more appealing to children? Or should nothing change? Should everything stay the same? Why or why not? And as you're doing that, I'm going to the chat to see what's in here so far. Kim talks about music and arts. Lori says, I award my son when he does exceptional, but not paying him to go, period. Then they will go for money and not care about learning. Good point. Good point. Marion Jackson says, are they being paid to go to school or to do the work needed to get the grades? Great question. Great question. Keep talking in the chat, and I'm gonna keep going, but keep posting. Keep posting. Providing high dosage tutoring. So I wanted to understand what that really means. Like, were they just using words, or is this something that they're trying to do? So they talk about a well-designed and well-implemented tutoring programs can significantly accelerate student learning. 1.5 years of achievement in math. So we're talking about well-trained educators, well-trained tutors, um, uh, early morning assistance with breakfast, 30-minute sessions per week, small groups of 1 to 3 students. They're talking about paraprofessional candidates, retired teachers, AmeriCorps members, teachers, and others, and how they're going to align all this up. I was waiting for you, Latrice. Here she is. She said, there are so many layers to chronic absenteeism. Specifically in Columbus, we have a high transient population. Paying students to attend might help, but there needs to be a whole child approach. I love that. Yes. Y'all, this is Town Hall. This is how you dig in and get to the weeds and get a better understanding. So first, and I like that, Latrice, we have to understand the layers of the chronic absenteeism. Why are they absent? That has to be the central question. So when we have people writing bills, because I went and looked him up, and I'm like, well, does he have any children? And I could not get to that answer. I see that he's married, but I wasn't able to see if he had any children. Because, and are they in school? And are they in public school, or are they in a private school? What does that look like? She says, I wish I could be on with you. My division is currently implementing high dosage tutoring district wide. It's a heavy lift. We can send you the link. You want to come in here? Let Isaiah know. We can send you the link if you can come in here now, because I would love you to come in here. Dr. Antoinette says their pay is their grade. We don't pay teachers appropriately. How are they going to pay students? Yes, I love that question. Yes. Let me know if Latrice is coming in here. Just Isaiah, give me a thumbs up if she's coming. Okay, she's coming. Yay! This is going to be good. We're going to have some more talk. Lori Wallace says, I think a look at new and different majors focuses based on what is happening in the world today will make them excited about school. Imagine a podcast management degree or marketing for social media or marketing for social media degree. The academic structure could be the same with additional classes. Win-win. I'm loving this. Y'all. This is how you have a town hall meeting. This is how. So then they talked about increasing summer learning. Just let me know if Latrice is coming. They talk about increasing summer learning and extended or after school learning time. Is that realistic? And what would that look like? What would that look like? Is that realistic? What would that look like? Latrice, let us know if you're coming in here. Because we can send you the link so you can come on and have a conversation with us. Isaiah, is she coming? Okay, she's not coming. Okay. Well, we'll just have to have Latrice come on one day next week so we can continue the conversation. Maybe we could do that on Wednesday. So let me keep going. Publishing states specific action to increase student attendance, expand high dosage tutoring. Now, I want to get to some things that I would love for y'all to hear, and I'm gonna go ahead. They're talking about enabling states to continue spending pandemic relief funds on academic achievement in the 2024-2025 school year and directing resources to support stronger outcome. Well, I have some questions. And these will be the questions I'm going to ask my representatives. Number one, to date, how much has been spent? I haven't been able to find that number. Number two, how has this money been allocated? Has this money shown up in the marginalized communities? And back to a question I saw earlier in the chat, how are you paying the teachers and the administrators? So basically, show us the money. Show us the money. 43 states increased education spending post-pandemic compared to pre-pandemic, and 47 states safeguarded funding in high poverty communities and drove approximately 600 million to high need schools. So when I went in here to look at this number, I cannot see what schools received this funding, and if it went through the governor, through the state, through the mayor, city, what? District, what? I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this. So these are more questions, town hall people, we need to be asking. Jackie says, I'm hearing great ideas here. How can we implement? Absolutely. Lori says, no, as a former teacher, they will not stay. Latrice says, I can't come today. Head to me. Okay, next week we'll plan it. Adrian says, the model of education needs to change. I lost it. That is progressive and inclusive for all. Yep. Regina says, is there a specific grade level that is missing more than others? Great question. And I want y'all to know there's been people reading our town halls, elected officials. So we got to keep these questions coming. Gail, you are asking all the right questions. Y'all need to follow up on this. Absolutely. We need to follow up on this. That's why this is going to be in the Friday rundown so that y'all can pay particular attention. Now, I have more questions. I want to get to, and I'm skipping around because I'm looking at the time. Now, we have After School Alliance, Attendance Works, AT&T, Boys and Girls Club of America, Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, National PTA, National Summer Learning Association, Overdeck Family Foundation, Parent Teacher Home Visits, Wallace Foundation, YMCA, and ZERM. These are all partners. But I have some questions, partners. What schools will you serve? What schools? What are the demographics with those schools? How will you serve individually? What will be your qualifications and background checks? Will there be equal resources across the board? And how will they be dispersed? How will you measure the outcome? And what are the demographics? So these are my questions that I was like, we got questions. We have questions we need to be asking to make sure this is across the board. Lori says, no, as a former teacher of K-8 in high school, they will not stay, especially in lower income areas. It's hard enough to get them there in the first place. The absentee rate is ridiculous. So then I went, after I asked those questions, and trust me, I'm going to be tweeting this and everything else, because I want to know what these organizations and companies are doing who will be funding some of this as a partner. So now, y'all, in this advancement agenda, the White House is saying they are securing $130 billion with a B for the largest ever investment in public education in history through direct state and district funding in the American Rescue Plan. So my question is, how does this look for the marginalized communities? Y'all know I write all around these things. So what does this look like? How does this look for the marginalized communities? And who will be the person to make sure these things happen? Who's that accountability person to make sure these things happen and they go all the way through? Then there will be $90 million in new awards in 2023-2024 to strengthen math, literacy, and science instruction through Education, Innovation, and Research Program. An additional $120 million in full-service community school grants, $48 million in new funding for evidence-based literacy intervention, more than $1 billion each year in funding for extended day programming, more than $2 billion in funding for school-based mental health, $18.4 billion for Title I, and $1.9 billion more than when the administration took office to help schools in low-income communities. All of this sounds really, really good. It does. But in this town hall, I have another question. Who are you going to get this money to? The 90 billion, I'm sorry, the 90 million, the 120 million, the 48 million, the 1 billion, the 2 billion. You have 1.9 billion allocated to low income. But I see 2 billion, 1 billion, 48 million, 120 million, and 90 million. Where's that money going to? And why only 1.9 billion to the low income areas? That's my question. That's my question. And Madam Vice President, Mr. President, Secretary of Education, we would love y'all to come on News in Motion to help us understand this seriously. And who and how will this money be spent? And who's the accountability? So then I have one more question before I go to the inspirational message. Through the Engage Every Student initiative, that's another initiative, nearly 500 entities, including state networks, school districts, cities, and community-based organizations, have committed to expanding access to after-school and summer learning programs for all students. This is coming out of the Biden administration. And here's my question to this. And again, y'all, these 10 pages look amazing. But I have questions. And here's my final question. Who will be the background of these students? Excuse me. And what are the demographics? Will this be going to the suburban areas? Or will this be tackling the low income areas? Or are you going to equally send this across the base? Because this looks good. But how? How are you going to measure this? And if you don't win, which we hope it's not the other guy, but if you don't win in November, what will happen to this? If this money has already been allocated, who's going to control this? And what about considering the constituents in these areas to be your accountability partners to make sure these things happen? I'm going to go back to something Latrice Jones says to us all the time here in the chat. Attend your local school board meetings. Ask these questions, town hall people. This information is important. Kim Edmondson says, help us understand. Dr. Antoinette says, what is being done to follow up with parents when children are chronically absent? Yes. She also says, how are they planning to pay the children? Are they setting up 529 plans? Are they issuing gift cards, or are they cutting checks, and how? And Kim Edmondson says, great question. Now, talking about the 529 plan, I have this for my news next week. They're looking at what to do with that money if the students don't use it, and parents have saved it. And there's a group of travel agents that are trying to use that leftover 529 plan that their children did not use. So stay tuned. I'll talk about that next week. But y'all, this is voting. This is Civics 101. This is civic engagement. This is community involvement. When we dig into these types of questions, this is who News in Motion is all about and what we do. We deal with this type of information, not what you're hearing everywhere else. We're taking it and we're breaking it apart. We're bringing this local to you. Next town hall meeting, we will have Lori Elmore, who's going to talk about local politics. She is a council person for the city of Whitehall. First Black female, first Black to be on the city council. She's going to talk about how all the dots connect. So you want to tune in to next Thursday's town hall meeting. With that, y'all, thank y'all for your participation. Again, people are reading these things. I'm hearing about them. I'm getting the DMs like, great. Is there a way we can get a transcript from this with some of these questions? So keep your questions coming every Thursday and then actually throughout the week. So the inspirational message, it was a toss up between do it scared or waiting. I'm going to go with waiting because this is a waiting thing right here. Many of us are praying constantly and we're waiting for God to answer us. And sometimes we never get an answer as quickly as we want to get an answer. There are times we get an immediate answer, but then there are times it may take 2 years, 3 years, 11 years, or so forth before an answer comes. Or maybe we will never hear the answer while we're alive, but maybe the legacy we left, they will get an answer from the prayer that we have prayed. So, how do we wait? How do we wait? We wait by having hope. And I know there's times we've all experienced it where we become discouraged, where we want to throw in the towel, where we just want to give up. I get it. I've been there. I've cried out to God, God, why haven't you answered this prayer? Or why every time I pray for other people, they get their answer. But when I pray for myself, I don't get an answer, or I get silence, or you give me some answer that I'm like, I don't want that answer. You're giving me more work to do. I didn't ask for that. And God says, but I trust you. Well, either we're going to trust him and wait, or we're not. We're going to trust believing, or we're not. The waiting can be hard. So I'm going to give you 3 things when it comes to waiting that I think will help. Number 1, have hope. Have hope that it's going to show up when you least expect it. So have hope, knowing that something's going to come through and it's going to be right on time. So have hope. Number 2, in this waiting, do something. Waiting is not sitting at home or barely getting by. Waiting is doing something. What steps are you taking in your waiting? What contacts are you making? What paper are you writing, or extra or class that you're taking, or gathering with people who can help, or serving your community? Do something in your waiting. That means your waiting won't seem as long. And then number 3, and this is going to be a hard one, but sow in your waiting. So resources, so finances, so life speaking words, so wisdom, so knowledge, SOW, so in your waiting. So you have hope in your waiting, you have do something in your waiting, and you have SOW in your waiting. You will find that while you wait, doing those 3 things, not one or the other, but doing those 3 things will make your waiting worth it. Those 3 things will make your waiting worth it. All right, y'all. This has been a very interesting week. It's been a heavy week, but it's been a week of information we wanted to share with you here on News in Motion. Don't forget, we're on our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll be back next Tuesday, God willing, with That's Happening Tuesday. Hopefully we can get Latrice Jones on here with me on Wednesday, and we will have Lori Elmore with me on Thursday. So I'm excited. And yeah, I get mad in my waiting too. But I'm excited because I'm learning how to have hope, do something, and sow in that waiting period. So y'all continue to make some bold moves. Stay well. Y'all know there's a thing called disease X out here, right? Y'all look that up. I was going to talk about that this week, and I decided I wasn't going to deal with it. But disease X is real. It's coming out of the World Health Organization. The CDC has talked about it. And after reading it, I said, was that what I had for 8 weeks? Was disease X? Y'all, disease X is real out here. So look it up. Just Google it, disease X. If you want this information of what I shared today, make sure you sign up for the newsletter, GailDudley.com. And real quick before we get out of here, y'all, it's vote season. Get some of the vote gear. Go ahead, Isaiah, pop that up. Get some of our signature vote gear. You can go to GailDudley.com/shop. It's in the banner. He's looking for it. It's in the media. You need me to pull it up? I can pull it up. There it is. The vote gear right there. the sweatshirt, the t-shirts, the mug, the tote bag, whatever. That's our signature vote gear. Get that and start wearing it to encourage people to vote. All right, y'all. That's all the time we have today. We will see you all on Tuesday. I am Gail Dudley. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Stay well, and remember, make some bold moves. We're out.
News in motion.